Sometimes when you're in an adventure, you might take a fall, be it intentionally because you're trying to get away from something, or unintentionally because you were shoved or had some force effect put on you that pushed you over an edge. It can be a pretty simple concept to understand, but it can cause some pretty devastating damage depending on how far the fall is. But my name is Don. I'm trying to be the Sly Strategist, and let's go ahead and get into it. Anytime you drop more than 5 feet, that is considered a fall. And when you take a fall, you're going to take bludgeoning damage that is going to be equal to half the distance that you fell. So, a way to think about that is if you fall 10 feet, you're going to take 5 damage. If you fall 20 feet, you're going to take 10 damage, and so on and so on. The longest that you can functionally fall might be different than the amount of damage you take. Basically, 1,500 feet or 750 damage is the max damage that you would take. If you take any damage beyond that, or you fall basically further than 1,500 feet, it is treated as 1,500 feet. If you take any damage from the fall, so any damage whatsoever, and you don't have a feat or something that would allow you to overcome the damage, you are going to be considered prone when you land. And there is timing for this in case you want to do an action or a reaction, which we're going to talk about here in a second, or one of your party members might try to save you somehow, but you will fall 500 feet in the first round. And then for any further rounds, you would fall an additional 1,500 feet per round, kind of reaching terminal velocity after that first round. As mentioned, there are a couple ways that you can mitigate this damage. One of them is something that you can do as a reaction when you fall, and it is a manipulate trait, and it is called grab an edge. So when you grab an edge, you can use that to try to reduce the damage from some falls. And this is kind of how it works. You have to have your hands not tied behind your back or bound or in any way restrained. So anytime you do take a fall or come past any type of edge or hand hold or anything that you could possibly grab, you can attempt this reaction. What you are trying to do is you're trying to grab it and arrest the fall or stop the fall. You must succeed at a reflex save. Usually it's going to be at the climbing DC for whatever surface you're at. And if you attempt to grab the edge or the handhold, then you can climb up using your athletics. Now, this has the normal success conditions. On a critical success, you grab the edge or the handhold, whether or not you had a hand free. And you can think of this as, let's say you had your longsword or your dagger in your hand. Well, you stab it into the rock face, or you find that little chink in the mortar that you can go ahead and put the edge of your bow in, or whatever you could possibly think of, but you do not have to have a hand free. You still take damage from the distance fallen so far, but you treat the fall as though it was 30 feet shorter. So a good example of this would be, let's say you fell 100 feet and you found some type of handhold, or because you critically succeeded, you stabbed your dagger into the chinks between a rock wall. You would only take damage for 70 feet as opposed to taking the damage for the full 100 feet. On a success, if you have at least one hand free, so you have to have a hand free for this, you grab the edge or handhold and you stop your fall. Same thing as before, you still take damage from the distance fallen so far, but you can reduce that by 20 feet. A failure is a failure. You just don't get the damage. And on a critical failure, you continue to fall. And if you've fallen at least 20 feet so far or more beyond this reaction, you would take 10 bludgeoning damage from the impact for every 20 feet fallen. So you would take additional damage, additional fall damage. The other way you can attempt to mitigate damage is you can try to fall into water or snow or some other soft surface. Usually this will be if you intentionally jumped in order to escape or to even get to another horizontal surface somewhere, and you can try to jump into something soft. You can treat the fall as 20 feet shorter, or if you intentionally did this jump, you can do it 30 feet shorter. However, the effective reduction can't be more than what you're jumping into. And the example they have in the book, and it's a really good one in truth, is if you are jumping into 10 feet of water, then you can only reduce by 10 feet, regardless of whether you were pushed in or intentionally dove in, because there's only that 10 feet of reduction. There are a couple other things that have to do with falling. The first one is, let's say you happen to fall on a creature. If you land on that creature does get a DC 15 reflex save. On a long fall, it is very, very, very unlikely that you are going to be able to pinpoint where you want to fall on that particular creature. But it does have the same success conditions that most other things have. On a critical success for the creature takes no damage. In other words, you kind of missed falling on the creature. On a success, the creature takes bludgeoning damage equal to 1/4 the falling damage you took. So if you took 80 points of damage from a fall from, let's say, 160 feet, then that particular creature would take 20 damage. On a failure, the creature takes bludgeoning damage equal to half the falling damage you took. And on a critical failure from that creature, they would take the same amount of damage that you take. The last little condition of falling is falling objects. It's pretty much treated just like a falling creature. A dropped object is going to take damage just like a falling creature would. So it'd be half the damage beyond what the distance you actually fell, up to a distance of 1,500 feet. Then it's kind of capped out at 750 damage. If the object lands on a creature, then you go back to the landing on a creature conditions, which is a DC 15 reflex save and all the success conditions that are available with that. I hope this helped explain fall damage to you. It is a pretty simple mechanic and a pretty simple concept, but from high heights, it is a pretty devastating amount of damage that you or a creature you fall on can take. But if you think about it, falling 1,500 feet is going to do some pretty big damage to what is falling and what's going to be falling on. But I do hope you liked the video, and if you did, feel free to like, subscribe, or go ahead and hit that notification bell for any new videos that come out. But whatever you do, I hope you have a great day and happy adventuring. Thanks.